force and pressure. Introduction to concept of push and pull. Look at the various situations from our daily life. Lifting a box, picking a fruit, kicking football, shutting door, pushing a trolley, pulling a rope. Each of these actions usually results in some kind of change in the motion of an object. All these actions can be grouped as a pull or a push or both. So, we can say that to move an object, it has to be pushed or pulled. A push or a pull on an object is called a force. Thus, we can say that the motion imparted to objects is due to the action of a force. Let us learn more about the force. Forces due to interaction. Look at the man playing chess. Look at the man kicking football. Look at the man pushing trolley. Do you see any common thing in all these situations? In the first image, hand of man is in contact with pawn. In the second image, leg of man is in contact with football. In third image, hand of man is in contact with trolley. We can say that at least two objects must interact for a force to come in play. What happens in case of magnets as magnet pulls iron objects without touching it? A magnet can attract only iron objects, means magnetic pull becomes effective only when magnet interacts with iron objects.
So, an interaction of one object with another object results in a force between the two objects.
Direction and magnitude of force. Can you point out the difference in the two images which are displayed on the screen? In first case, a man and woman are pushing a car. They are pushing a car in same direction. So the net force on the car will be force applied by man plus force applied by woman. Forces applied on an object in the same direction add to one another. In case second, two teams are playing tug of war. They are pulling a rope in opposite direction. Net force will be force applied by team A minus force applied by team B. If the two forces act in the opposite directions on an object, the net force acting on it is the difference between the two forces. We can say that the net force on an object is zero if the two forces acting on it in opposite directions are equal. The ball will not move as those girls are applying equal and opposite force on the gym ball. Force could be larger or smaller than the other. How can we measure its strength? The strength of a force is usually expressed by its magnitude.
So, in order to express force, we have to specify its direction as well as its magnitude. Change in shape and state of motion of object by force. Have you seen the game of tennis? In tennis, a tennis player plays his or her shot by applying a force on the ball with the tennis racket. Due to this, the speed and the direction of the moving ball changes. Sometimes speed of ball increases, sometimes it decreases, or sometimes it becomes 0. A change in either the speed of an object or its direction of motion, or both, is described as a change in its state of motion. An object may be at rest or in motion. Both are its states of motion. The state of rest is considered to be the state of 0 speed. Does it mean that the application of a force would always result in a change in the state? No. A heavy box may not move at all even if you apply the maximum force that you can exert. No effect of force is observed when you try to push a wall. So we can say that there are instances when application of force does not result in a change in the state of motion. What other effect of an object can be observed by the application of force?
Have you seen people pressing a stress ball or lump of dough? When we apply force on the stress ball or lump of dough, it changes its shape. So we can conclude that the application of force on an object may change its shape. Summary. Let us summarize what we have learned. To move an object, it has to be pushed or pulled. Force can be a push or a pull. An interaction of one object with another object results in a force between the two objects. Forces applied on an object in the same direction add to one another. If the two forces act in the opposite directions on an object, the net force acting on it is the difference between the two forces. The net force on an object is 0 if the two forces acting on it in opposite directions are equal. The strength of a force is usually expressed by its magnitude. A force may bring a change in the state of motion of an object. The state of rest is considered to be the state of 0 speed. The application of force on an object may change its shape.